Hello and welcome to the From the Finney podcast with me, Jake.
And me, Ollie.
So we're without Dan again this week as he's no internet in his new house, but Ollie and I will take you through the talking points from yesterday's defeat in South Wales and we'll look ahead to Stoke on Wednesday as well. Ollie, all right?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Jake. Had a bit of a mad week last week or so.
Yeah, tell me about it.
But I lost everything that I owned in Jersey, but I made it home safe. Been under house arrest for a week, but moving to Manchester in the next week or so. So very busy couple of weeks, but managed to watch the Swansea game yesterday on iFollow.
I didn't.
So. Yeah, not a bad game. Good game to watch, to be fair, for any neutral.
Yeah, first half sounded decent, but like I said, despite my best efforts, I couldn't find a working VPN or anyone with a stream for it, which was annoying. But yeah, obviously very disappointing that we've lost. But considering we've only won 2 games in the 21st century against Swansea and we've not won at their place since the 1960s, it's not really a result that I was shocked by, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a tough place to go as it is. They've not lost at home to any championship team in 2019. The only team that's beat them at home is Man City in the FA Cup.
Yeah, and even that.
And that was a lucky win by all accounts with VAR and stuff. So it was always going to be a tough game. And funny enough, I think it was exactly the same game as last season. I think it was a third game.
Yeah,
I think it
was, wasn't it?
And it was a narrow defeat last season and a narrow defeat yesterday. But yeah, as I said, managed to watch the game. First half was one of the most controlled away performances I've seen from us since Neil came in.
Alex Neil even said something similar after the game, didn't he? That it's probably the best we've played away from home.
Yeah, absolutely dictated the game. Tactics were spot on. Even with Malt going off, tactics were still spot on. And then right on half time, conceded a goal, which is, they'll say it's a good goal, but it's terrible from us. And then obviously that changes it. Second half, they were much better, and we still deserved probably a draw from the game, but you can easily lose those type of games.
Yeah, especially when they're going back and forth.
Yeah. So
I think obviously the killer blow for us was just conceding pretty much immediately from the kickoff after that penalty that brought us back into it.
Yeah, I mean we've done that. It's we do that a lot, you know. Unless it just appears that we do that a lot, but we seem to.
Well, I think it was in that bad run that we had at the start of last season.
Yeah.
I think there was quite a few instances there where we'd either take a lead or bring ourselves back into a game and. Within a few minutes, we'd be behind again or level. Yeah,
Sheffield United away sticks out for me. I think DJ or Robinson who just made it 2-2.
I think it was Robinson, but I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah, and then they scored pretty much straight after. So yeah, and then I think the Reading game as well last season was similar. So that was just when you get yourself back in the game, you can't do that straight away.
No. You need to tighten up.
Yeah, even just stretch the ball for a minute. It's like on FIFA, you know. I do it on FIFA all the time. I score and I can see straight away.
Yeah,
it's strange.
I was going to say it's that FIFA cliche, isn't it? Commentators' cliche of you're always, well, not always, but you're more often that you're most vulnerable straight after you've scored a goal.
Yeah. Which, despite saying that, I think I heard yesterday on the highlights, it's the first time in about 30 games or so, I think, that we've scored first
and
lost the game. So, despite obviously being vulnerable when we've scored, we don't actually tend to lose games when we score first. So, but we need a bit of context because they brought Andre Ayew off the bench after 20 minutes up against Joe Rafferty, and then they got Forger Baston up front, who was £15 million.
Yeah, I was going to say they were about £30 million combined, them two, if not a bit more.
Yeah, so it's just that's what you're up against every week at this level. Obviously on Wednesday, similar against Stoke.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but
England World Cup goalkeeper in the starting 11, you would imagine.
Jack Butland, yeah. So it's but these type of games you're up against every week, so it's nothing new. But it would have been nice to obviously win the game or even just get a point, because I think that's 6 away games in a row now we've lost. Obviously going back to last season, which I'm not a big fan of. But
I was just going to say, you're
I read that.
Are you?
Nah, but I read that this morning, and the longer that goes on, you'd start getting a bit concerned, maybe. But yeah, just a game that could have gone any of 3 ways, really. And even their manager said he could have had no complaints if we'd have got something from the game.
Yeah. No, I think it's for me. It's just one of them. Just it is what it is. Move on to the next game.
Yeah, similar to the Millwall game. To be fair, it's just one of them. But
I think it starts to become a problem when you're sort of 15, 20 games into a season and you may be still looking at games and saying that. I think that's when it starts to become an issue. But 3 games into the season, we've still got plenty of opportunity to get some momentum and some wins on the board. And
well, you got 2 home games now in a week. Well, in the next few days. So
in 4 days, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, Wednesday, Saturday. So you'd want a win, wouldn't you? And maybe a draw. So to get a bit of momentum going, because obviously we had a good week with the Wigan game and Bradford, and then obviously started well yesterday. So still reasons to be positive.
Yeah, and I think the squad have come out and players from the squad have come out in during the summer and said, the standards that they set themselves are very high, and I'm sure you can go through the media for every team in the league and you'll find something similar. But with seasoned pros like Paul Gallagher, Tom Clark, David Nugent in there, who've all sort of been there, done that, got the T-shirt, so to speak, you'd like to think that there is an element of truth to that.
Yeah, I don't believe there isn't.
No, exactly.
I'm not concerned at all, to be honest.
Yeah, not yet. I think I'll say I'm not concerned at the moment. Like I said, if we're sort of another 5-10 games into the season and we're losing games like this where we're coming on afterwards and saying, well, it could have gone either way.
Yeah,
but
I like the games.
It happened last season, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But I think if you look at Millwall away, very tough game on the first day, and then obviously Swansea away is a tough game, very tough game as well. So there'll be a lot easier away games than those 2. So yeah, just 270 minutes into the league season. So yeah,
I think, like I said, for me at the moment, it is what it is. We move on. But yeah, I think going into a bit more detail then from yesterday's game. Obviously, I've not had any opportunity to watch it, seeing as I can't log into my iFollow account at the moment, which happens on a regular basis.
I've never had any problems with iFollow. Must be the only person in the world.
I think I've got maybe in the last 3 months, I've got about 5 email threads with different people from iFollow asking them to reset my login.
Strange.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah, obviously watched the game. Not watched it back, but similar, obviously the same lineup as the Wigan game, apart from Hughes for Rafferty, which was a bit of a surprise in itself, because obviously you think you go into Swansea, the team who plays out, you're going to press them, so you'd expect maybe Barkey, Brown, Potts, one of those to start, or maybe 2 of those, but went with the same lineup as Wigan game, pressed them really well. Was more of a 4-3-3 though, rather than DJ, sort of 10 yards ahead.
Yeah.
But DJ and Gally locked onto their number 6s in the first phase. They were playing 4-2-3-1. Stopped them playing out. Malt was pressing whichever centre back was receiving, and then obviously Bowden and Maguire on the full back. So, and then we had Bauer in the air, who won pretty much everything in the first half.
He's been a Colossus so far this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, so tactics was spot on really first half. Pressed them really high. I don't know if you use SofaScore, but it's an app. You can see the average positions, and both fullbacks are really high average position over the halfway line. Galley was really high, and even Ben Pearson was not sort of 10 yards deeper like you'd expect. So played right on top of him, won the ball in good areas, and controlled the ball. As I said before, just dictated the game completely. Obviously got the goal, which was nice finish from Rafferty. Took a bit of a deflection, but
can't take anything away from it, really, can you?
No, but final third entries must have had 20. I think we had 12 shots inside their box in the 90 minutes, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Especially away from home at a team like Swansea. Billy Bowden had a really good chance. Probably should have scored.
Yeah, I saw that.
DJ had a good chance. And then
he properly hooked it wide, yards wide as well.
Snatched at it, really.
Yeah.
He's normally more composed than that. And then obviously had a few decent crossing opportunities. Fisher was very involved in the attacking side, which was positive. And then, so you'd think.
I think that's what Fisher brings, though, isn't it? He's very.
Yeah, I think he's underrated on that side of the game. He lacks a bit of quality in the final third, but he's always like sort of around there. And one thing I noticed was Bowden and Maguire were playing within the width of the 18-yard box, really. And Fisher. Even Pearson was sort of drifting out wide, linking up with Fisher, and it caused them a lot of problems. So, might be something to look for, obviously in the coming weeks. But Malt went off injured. Obviously, looks like a terrible injury. Hopefully, well, I say hopefully not too serious, but I'm fairly sure it's going to be.
Yeah, we'll come on to that a bit more detail.
Yeah, obviously come to. But Andre Green came on. People were surprised that it came on, but it was basically he can press and Jaden Stockley can't. Simple as that.
I think as well, for those that were surprised, he played. Was it in the bounce game against Salford? He played up front in the second half.
Yeah, I said at the time I thought that was more out of necessity, but maybe it wasn't. I've got to say I was slightly surprised when he came on that Maguire didn't go up front, which would have seemed more natural than Green up front. But
yeah, you'd have thought so. But I have to say, since I've seen Maguire out on the left, he has looked sharp.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's looking sharp, and obviously won the penalty yesterday, which was you can't really argue against penalty.
No.
Got into a lot of dangerous positions as well. So, and he had a good chance from a corner again, like Wigan last week. So
yeah.
He's looking good, Maguire. But now Green came on, carried on pressing, didn't really hold the ball, and then.
Yeah, the few bits that I've seen of the highlights, Green did look sort of like he was struggling a bit up top. Not really anyone in and around him.
Yeah, so tactically that was a bit of he looked a bit lost, to be honest. And then that brings us on to the end of the first half. Green lost the ball. Maguire was way out of position on the left.
Yeah, you could see, like I said, from the bits of the highlights that I've seen, you could see how far behind the play Maguire was, and when the ball went out onto his side, he made like a last ditch effort to try and sort of get up with play.
Yeah, because of how narrow we defend the box, our back four sort of retreats into a 15-yard line. When the ball goes wide, we're very reliant on the wingers to follow the fullbacks.
Yeah.
When it doesn't happen, the fullbacks have basically got a free rein to put the ball in the box, which is what happened. And then it's obviously hard for a defender to follow an attacker's movements in the box. Good finish from the lad, and then 1-1 at half time, which is a massive blow, really.
Right on the stroke as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was obviously 5 minutes added on because of the Malt injury, and then I think it was 49th minute.
Yeah, they had a player went off with injury as well, didn't they? Was it Dyer?
No, it was Kalulu, I think.
One of them, anyway.
Yeah, started the game quite well, but 1-1 half time, and then second half they changed completely. You'd expect Swansea to sort of keep passing the ball, but we pressed with so much joy in the first half that they basically just popped the ball in behind our fullbacks. not even looking to win the first balls really, but just pick up seconds and get into our final third. Drag Bauer and Davis out into wide areas, and then flood the box, which to be fair they did really well.
Something we struggled to do against Millwall.
Yeah, but the difference was against Millwall, their fullbacks were parked in just a fullback position.
True, yeah.
Yesterday we sort of focused on overloading central space with our attackers and getting Fisher mainly out wide, and that's where most of their joy came from, getting behind Fisher. Less so on the left because Repeti was a bit more conservative, but Bauer was quite...
Which you would expect to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, we played... It's nothing different to last season, to be fair. Hughes sort of sticks in a bit deeper, and then we play on the right a bit more. But Bauer was not very comfortable going into wide areas. And another thing was Bowden and Maguire just can't really track back like Barkey does, like Potts can probably do. So you'd expect on Wednesday night maybe Barkey to come back in a bit more.
Yeah.
Bit more defensive solidity.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Maguire shove back up through the middle, Barkey to come in and keep
maybe
out.
Maybe, yeah. But Swansea got all their joy basically from first of all our wingers not tracking back, and then when they tracked back, we got dragged into a deep shape and it just left Green completely isolated, couldn't hold the ball up, and then they basically controlled the game from there. And I thought Neil probably waited a bit too long to make his changes. I think it was probably 80th minute.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a double change, wasn't it?
Barkey and Brown came on, had no time to affect the game. And we do this a lot when we're chasing the game. We sort of run out of ideas and just go a bit direct and play into their hands. But saying all that, we definitely should have got something from the game. But maybe Neil got it wrong second half, or maybe you've just got to give credit to Swansea. Sort of changed tactically at half time and got the better of us, really. Simple as that. In the second half.
It sounds to me more like Neil was not outdone, but like you said, Swansea changed it around at half time and we didn't really have an answer.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I'm not sure why I didn't have an answer, to be fair, but because Neil's normally quite proactive in what he does. But yeah, just one of them games. You're going to come up against good teams like Swansea. Obviously, Baston, 2 good finishes. But it goes back to last season. Slightly different yesterday in the fact that they were sort of getting high. They were overloading out wide and then clipping little balls into the box rather than crossing from deep. But we just tend to struggle with any sort of aerial balls into the box, clearing first and second balls still. And I can't even blame Rudd really for any of the goals. It was more, as much as I want to, it was more...
I was going to say, that must be hard.
It was midfield runners failing to track their runners and Bauer and Davis getting a bit confused. But to be fair, they were bold because they put sort of 4, 5, 6 players into the box and hard to defend against that.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think we mentioned the first goal on the stroke of half time. With the fact that we become so compact when we're defending, you've obviously got the back. I mean, it's not great defending. I'm not trying to defend anyone for the first goal, but you can cut the 2 centre-backs a little bit of slack. They're on the back foot. They're moving backwards.
Yeah, and against attackers like Baston and like Ayew, they're very good. They're very good in the box. They're good players. They're probably very good championship players in terms of movement and finishing. So, we'll come up against much worse attacks than that. So that's tactically, that's pretty much how the game went.
Yeah, I think talking about forwards, obviously we're now looking a little bit short in that department, and from what we've been told, it was an area that Neil wanted to strengthen, and some would say, well, we brought Nugent in, but I don't really consider that as strengthening the attack, to be honest. The fact that he's still out injured says everything.
I think we said at the time, didn't we, if Nugent was the only one, we'd be disappointed. If it was Nugent and another, then it's a massive blow.
Yeah, and obviously with Louis' performance against Wigan last week, he looked really good, really sharp. Obviously got the goal.
Yeah,
Um,
started well yesterday as well.
started well yesterday, and then he's obviously got this really bad, what looks to be maybe knee ligament injury.
Yeah,
Which
his knee just completely. You know when there's no contact and you just go down, it's a serious one. You can tell straight
yeah,
away.
well, a
So
bit of a personal one, but my mum did her ACL and her PCL in February, I think it was, and she's only just started running again this week. So
6 months.
6-7 months
Yeah.
minimum before. Yeah, we'll be lucky to see him before the end of the season, I suspect. If it is as bad as.
Might be one of them, yeah. And I think Neil even was a bit defensive yesterday about the injury, saying it's just a complete one-off, nothing to do with training methods or
Right, so.
overworking. But people will link it to sort
Yeah,
of.
but I don't see how you can. Like, if you watch what happened,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
absolutely nothing. Oh, sorry, there's no one around him at all. He
Well,
stretches to try and bring a ball down, and his standing leg just completely.
to be honest, live, I thought he was going down for a penalty live. I thought it was a clip ball by Fisher.
Yeah.
It was in between the both centre backs, I think, and I thought he got a little clip off one of them. But looking closer, his knee just gave way.
Just completely went, didn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, what can you do? It's just horrific look again. So it wouldn't be as bad if we'd have signed a forward, and I'm not classing David Nugent as a signing. So you've got he's a mascot. He's a mascot who's sold a few shirts, and he's not going to play. So you got Maguire up front.
I think he'll play. I don't think there's any question about that. But
I can't see him starting games. I just can't see him affecting anything.
But he will get on the pitch.
But we've seen before with players that Neil didn't necessarily want to sign. He just does not play them. Like if you look at yesterday, yes, that says it all about Stockley.
Yeah, I think the Nugent thing's just a bit different though because he's come in. He'll know that fans will want to see him on the pitch. So, like you said, I agree with you. I can't see him starting games, but I do think he'll get sort of 20, 10, 15 minutes here and there through the season.
I think it's a bit of a stretch to call him an option if that's all he's going to be getting. But yeah, that's that. And then so you got Maguire, who's looked better on the left, even though I do like him up front. And then you've got Stockley, who people need to just realise that Neil just does not rate because he's got no mobility in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I mean, I went to Bradford on Tuesday night, and he doesn't affect a game in any way. I mean, some people obviously have different views to me, but I honestly don't see what he brings. He's never done anything during a game that's made me sit up and think, yeah, all right, there's a player here.
I think you know my feelings on Stockley as well. So
yeah, I mean, well, going back to when we first went on a game together, I was quite a fan of Stockley, if you will. But I think the more that I've watched him, the less I've seen. The more I've seen anything, not seen anything to make me think.
Yeah,
he can come on and contribute something. Now, obviously, people point to his goals, but they're all goals off the bench.
He's a good finisher, but for me, I've thought it since I first saw him. He does not look like he suits the way Neil plays football, and that's been shown by the limited starts he's got since he came, and especially yesterday when you've got a 20-year-old winger coming on playing up front ahead of him.
Yeah.
Which speaks volumes. But he might come in from the cold like Louis Malt did against Wigan.
Yeah, you
just never know. But yeah, it's.
I think, and I hate to go over old ground again, but I think what this Malt injury does show is the absolute incompetence shown by the club in the summer window.
Yeah, it's you just knew it had come back to bite us. It looks like Andy Hughes has come back to bite us already with a left back.
Yeah,
and now it's looking like the striker thing's going to come back. So you're going how many months? September, October, November. 4 months now until 4.5 months until the window opens again, and Maguire and Stockley are the only real options up front, which is League One options, really.
Unless he looks at bringing in someone like Connor Simpson from the cold, who
I know, but even then,
you'd argue that's maybe even League Two.
Well, he's never done anything at any level, so
I think 3 goals in 15 appearances for Carlisle last year in League Two.
Yeah, I don't know, but unless obviously Barkey could be an option there, and then obviously Green yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think having 2 converted forwards is the answer.
No, it's not. It's not. But that's what we've left ourselves with.
Yeah.
Which is very disappointing. So. Yeah.
Just have to wait and see how things pan out, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's going to actually do. I'm not sure Green's like a long-term fix there, but he does fit the profile that Neil likes, and we've gone over it time and again. Mobile, quick, direct, athletic. But yesterday he just struggled to hold the ball. So we'll just have to see. But it's a bit of a mess now, the striker thing.
Just a bit.
Just a bit, yeah. So, but to be fair, we do score goals like as a team. We've always had players.
Yeah, they're very spread about, aren't they? They're not. So... we won't rely on. Although I suppose I think I've said it about Brown and Robinson last season that they contributed a certain proportion, but even still, you'd fancy maybe Bauer to get maybe 3 to 7 goals or something like that this season from set pieces. You'd
say you're looking
at chip in with a few Galley, DJ.
Yeah, you'd expect sort of Barkey, Maguire, Green, Stockley to score 5+ each, and then Brown obviously can score goals. Galley, DJ will chip in.
Yeah.
Obviously Bowden might do a few things. So there's goals spread around, but just the focal point is a bit of a concern now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a worry. Definitely is. Right, let's call that part 1, mate.
Cool. Welcome back to part 2 of the From the Finney podcast. We're going to look ahead to the Stoke game on Wednesday now and a few extra bits. So, Jake, I'm very excited about Stoke on Wednesday because it's my first game of the season. Obviously, being in Jersey and ruining my life last weekend. Be good to get back to Deepdale for the first time in about 3 months.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I always look forward to the night games at Deepdale. It just not only does it break up the week and give you something to look forward to, but it's, I don't know, there's my more fond memories of home games are of night games.
Me too, absolutely. I'm sure everyone's the same.
And of course, the fact that I'm going to be sitting with you for the first time during a live footy match.
Well, we sat together at Bamber Bridge, but I don't think we can remember it, can we? So
yeah, I can't. We didn't really sit and watch the second half at all.
No.
But yeah,
should be
thanks
fun.
to the wonderful Sky cameras coming in, setting up around my seat that I've had to move, which is a pain in the ass. But hey ho.
Yeah. So yeah, buzzing for that. Quite a big game, obviously. Good. Well, they've not started the season well in terms of results, but
I don't think they've really had a good run under Nathan Jones, to be honest, have they? Really?
No, but obviously we'll come on to XG in a bit, but they have performed quite well. I really rate him as a coach and got a good squad, haven't he? So
yeah, I think for us though, obviously our home form wasn't the greatest last season, and it's going to be key this season if we want to have any hopes of doing anything. And obviously we've gotten off to a perfect start, you could argue, against Wigan. And to be honest, I think this is one that we're more than capable of winning.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I think win on Wednesday night, 2 wins from 2 home games. Obviously it's 2 defeats on the road, but it's you'd take that. I think.
Yeah, and funny enough, like we said about the Swansea game, exactly the same time as last season. The Stoke game was pretty much the same as well.
It was this time last year, I think, according to Time Hop.
It was on Sky as well, and 2-2 that day. So, but yeah, it'll be an interesting game tactically as well because they play a diamond. So they either play 3 at the back with a diamond, and 1 up front, or they play 4 diamond 2. So it'll be interesting to see how Neil goes about that because I know he likes tactical games like that. So
yeah, do you think it could be one that's maybe similar to the Norwich game last season
in terms of
the way we sort of play?
Maybe, yeah. But Stoke are a bit more direct.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying in terms of the way Stoke are going to come at the game, but in terms of sort of everything about it. It's a night game at Deepdale. It's under the lights. You'd like to imagine on the back of a defeat that we're going to be up for it. They're a fancied team, if you will.
Yeah, but it's got all the makers of a good game. I'd expect us to press, and obviously they're going to play a diamond, so they'll be very narrow. So we tend to do well against teams where we can exploit the fullbacks. So I'd expect Barkey to probably come back in. Maybe Potts or maybe Green out wide. We'll just have to see, but it goes back to it again. We got good options again, so
I think in certain areas we do.
Yeah, in the midfield and out wide, we've got flexibility. So however he wants to settle, he can. And then I'd probably say I'd expect Maguire to start up front.
I'd be very surprised if we do see Stockley coming in. But then again, I don't think anyone would have called it for the Wigan game with Louis Malt coming in. So
no, we'll see. But there's nothing to be too negative about from the players who played yesterday. Obviously, I think Bowden was disappointing defensively.
I think you have to kind of expect that from him though, because
100%.
He's such a flair player.
Yeah, he's not that type of player, is he?
No.
Which is why I was a bit surprised that he started in an away game like that. But
it's tough. It's tough to justify breaking up a team that's just won 3-0, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But with the 3 games in the week, and the options, you'd expect maybe 2-3 changes.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see. I'd expect Barkey to come back in though.
I think Barkey will come back in, and I think maybe, like you said, maybe Brown and Potts as well.
Maybe like 1 or 2 of those 3. And obviously it remains to be seen about Hughes. Didn't even make the bench.
They're putting it down to a tight hamstring.
They're being very coy about that, which probably means he's out for about 3 months. So
probably don't want it getting out that he's out injured, like it was last season when we put something on social media and
a little from the Finney exclusive.
2 days later.
Yeah, but looking forward to it. So they'll bring a few night games.
It's not too far to travel.
No, it'll be a good game.
Same. I agree. I think it's like I said, it's one that I think we're more than capable of winning.
Would you take a point, or would you be disappointed with a point?
As it stands right now, I think I'd be disappointed with a point, but I wouldn't be surprised with a 1-1 draw. I know Nathan Jones has got a bit of a record for draws.
Yeah, they barely lost a game. I think they've drawn.
They lost like 4 or something like that.
Something stupid, yeah. They drew like 60% of the games that he took over last season.
Crazy.
Yeah, but I think what did we do? We beat them 2-0 at their place. Was it 2-0 or something? When Jones
it was that season. Yeah.
Brown scored and
Potts.
Someone else. Was it Potts? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you'll go with the same sort of setup. Because when we perform well against a certain tactical setup, he likes to repeat that, and Stoke won't change how they play. So we'll just have to see. But it'd be nice to get a win, and then there's a bit less pressure on the Sheffield Wednesday game then.
Yeah. and be another big one as well, you'd imagine.
Yeah, big day as well, that on Saturday. So
Bank holiday weekend.
Yeah. So yeah, good few days to look forward to.
Yeah, exciting week of football, definitely. Cool. Right, let's go on to the final bit. There's obviously been this XG table, if you will, doing the rounds on social media.
Yeah, I've just seen it this morning for the first time. Obviously, well, 3 games into the season doesn't really mean much, but well, should we go over what XG is anyway?
Yeah, I was going to say, for those that haven't listened to the previous pod, I can't remember which episode it was, where you went over what it is.
Yeah, it's a while back.
Don't actually know what it is, then yeah, if you want to give them a little rundown,
Well,
more
XG,
au fait with that than me.
It's actually an XGD table, not really an XG, so to speak, but it's sort of the expected amount of points based on your performances. So XG rates expected goals, which is it basically rates how many good chances you've created over the 90 minutes in a game. So Preston's is XG of 4 over the 3 games, which is not that high. But if you look at the expected goals against, which is 2.5, how many have we conceded? 4. So we've conceded more than we've sort of should have in an average situation, if you get what I mean. So the XG table has us in 5th at the moment. We should have won 2 games, so we should be on 6 points. So, and I think that reflects the performances, because Millwall, we actually played okay. First half was very positive.
Yeah, I think we've said that, haven't we? We've not been too sort of.
Well,
I haven't anyway been too critical of the Millwall game. I know we were flat in the second half, but
yeah,
we score a goal in the first half and it completely changes it.
yeah. And then obviously we've blown Wigan away, and yesterday we played well. So that has us in 5th at the moment. Incidentally, Stoke are 4th in that XG table as well. So
Yeah, and they haven't won a game yet this season, have they?
No, I think, have they just drawn 1 and lost 2?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they lost the first 2 and then they drew yesterday against Derby, I think, was it?
Yeah. So in terms of this sort of looks at performances rather than results, which is, and to be fair, over a season, it usually correlates quite closely.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. It's more of an indicator, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's an indicator of how well you're playing. Because I think start of the 2017-18 season, I'm not sure if you remember, but I think Ipswich, won the first 5 games.
Yeah.
But I think that the XG, they were like 3rd bottom over that period, and I think they ended up finishing 18th or 19th. So it does usually correlate quite well. So just if anyone's interested, it's got Leeds in 1st at the minute, Fulham in 2nd, Brentford 3rd, and you'd expect all them to be up and around there.
Yeah, and then obviously Stoke 4th, we're 5th, Charlton 6th. I think they're a bit of an outlier, aren't they?
Yeah,
if you will.
Well, the thing is about XG as well. If you get a penalty, you've got an XG of like 0.7 just from that, because I think the average a penalty is scored 7 out of 10 times. So penalties skew it a bit, and I think Charlton have had 3 penalties already.
I know they definitely got one yesterday.
They've had a penalty in every game, I think.
I think Huddersfield have had something similar as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they've scored 2, and maybe they've just scored 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've scored 2.
But yeah, so in terms of the underlying numbers, which are important, we're doing okay. I've not even looked at the actual league table. I don't look at it until about 5.
No,
6.
I haven't. I had a conversation with my dad last week after the Wigan game, and he told me that we were 7th or 6th or 8th or somewhere around that, and I was just like, well, I'm not even going to bother looking. Like, what's the point?
And just if you look at the other end, you've got Birmingham, Luton, Hull, Barnsley, bottom 4, which
I think the one surprising one, if you were to go bottom 5, is the fact that Bristol City are there.
Yeah, But I think they played Leeds, didn't they? And they got battered by Leeds.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting way. I know a lot of people seem to hate it because they say only results matter, which is true, but it's good to look a bit deeper sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think there's any harm in looking at the numbers in terms of, like we said, to get an indicator and to get an idea of how things are progressing. Obviously, at the end of the day, results are the only thing that matter. But when you're 3 games into a season, looking at this sort of stuff it's not the end of the world, I wouldn't say.
What
to
I'd
get
say
an idea
as well
of how
is,
well we're performing versus the rest of the league.
Yeah, what I'd say as well is last season, obviously, where we bottom after 9 games, I think.
9 or 10 games we were bottom.
The XG had us in like 8th position in the league. And obviously, until the injury crisis at the end, we were knocking about around 8th, weren't we?
Yeah.
So, obviously, the XG table, like any table, doesn't really matter until sort of 10 games in. But it's just thought I'd point it out.
Interesting, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, just thought I'd point it out. So Wednesday night's a game between 2 teams that have performed well so far. So it has all the hallmarks of being a good game.
Basically. Yeah, so if you're in denial and you want to stay at home and watch it on Sky, then maybe try and get down to Deepdale if you can.
Yeah.
And support the boys. But yeah, I think unless you've got anything else to say, mate, I think we're probably about done.
Yeah, we'll keep it short and sweet today.
Yeah, cool. Another lopsided pod. I think the first half is a bit longer than the second half, but not the end of the world.
Nah.
So yeah.
Nice one.
I think we'll call that a pod.
Cool.
Thanks for listening to episode 12 of the From the Finney podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed it and our thoughts and Ollie's tactical breakdown of the Swansea game and all that sort of stuff. So if you haven't, you can subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your podcasts from. If you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that would be absolutely grand. A little bit of news. I've got something pretty much pending for meeting and recording with our first podcast guest. So I'll put something out about that on social media during the week. And yeah, just keep up with us on social media if you're not already. And cheers for listening. So thanks, Ollie.
Cool. See you on Wednesday, Jake.
Yeah, see you on Wednesday night, mate. A few beers.
Nice one. Yep, nice one. See you in a bit.
Nice one. See you in a bit.